Directly above the Hollywood sign, it's ChrenBen's Friend Trends with Aaron Crennan and Ben Lepley, the working model of a healthy friendship.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining us on the ChrenBen's Friend Trends podcast. My name's Aaron Crennan, and I'm alongside my best friend, Ben Lepley. You're looking good, Ben. How you doing?
The CrossFit journey continues.
He's chiseled, ladies and gentlemen. And sitting next to him is the real Cheez-It-bodied, Coca-Cola cherry David Neale. How you doing, David?
It's not my usual dinner. I'm good. I actually ate healthy today. This is kind of a break. I had sushi for lunch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, I really wanted sushi today, and I couldn't bring myself to go to a sushi restaurant by myself.
You can't do it. That's the only way I can do it.
Oh, yeah?
Because
sushi is one of the better restaurants to go to by yourself. Yeah, because you can sit at the bar.
I feel like they judge you. And
really?
Oh,
no.
That's what I want. I don't want like a waitress who's like really gabby and wants me to feel welcome.
Right.
I want a restaurant where I essentially am in a cubicle.
Man, what happened to you?
Eating my food. I'm fine. I'm just not like, I'm not going into a sushi restaurant expecting to make a new Japanese friend.
You know, I've been...
But it's true.
It's true.
I want to have a food. I don't mind having the food delivered to me. Them being thankful for me receiving it, me being thankful to them for delivering it, and then I eat it. And then the next time I talk to them is when I need water or I am ready to pay.
You say Japanese friend. Do you want a friend of any other race? Yeah, we went there.
I got all of them. I think I got the rest of them.
You're covered. I was going to say I've been going to this sushi place in a mall because where I work
over in Little Tokyo.
No, in Century City. So it's like
authentic.
What's can we say the name on this?
I don't know the name.
Mine is Tomo Sushi.
I don't know the name.
Near Sherman Oaks.
Oh my god, I don't know the name. I don't think I could tell you the name of one sushi place. I just go there, but the names don't stick. Honestly, this is not a bit.
They're usually just it's usually one word and then sushi. It usually is. Like I think one of the favorite ones I had when I lived in Orange County was Arigato Sushi.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, on the Yelp of the one that I go to, it's just called Sushi Ran on the sign. But then if you Yelp it, it's like Izkuru.
Oh yeah.
And then I was trying to find it forever because I was like, isn't it right around here? And then like I finally, when I was opening, I was like, well, that's not it. And then I figured out it was it. Because they try to hide those secondary names.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those in LA. I've noticed on Yelp it's like I was in Koreatown. My girlfriend lives out there, and she lives near this Korean dumpling place. Mm-hmm. And I ordered on there, and it was called like Yoon's King Dumpling on Yelp. And then when I get there, the sign says something along the lines of like, great dumpling. And
are you sure that's not just an advertisement for the product?
That's a
great dumplings.
Also in Koreatown, I'm not Korean, and so I'm not versed in Korean, and I don't know how to read it. But in Koreatown, it's very just kind of like Asian is the second language out there. So there was nothing else in English on the sign, and I went in and. The guy, I didn't even say anything. The guy points at me and says, "Pickup?" And I said, "Yeah." And then I spent the next 5 minutes as he prepares this meal, having a panic attack, going like, what if he gives me someone else's pickup order?
Right.
And he didn't speak English.
Yeah.
And so...
wait, did you have a pickup order there? Did you
yeah.
I thought you meant you didn't have one, and he just yelled pickup at you, and you just said yes and started to flop sweat.
I'm too far in. I have to pick it up.
My stories don't really come with beginnings or exposition, so I don't know how great I'm going to be.
No. It's like a haiku, just to keep it in the theme.
I'll teach you how to do one right now.
Oh, shut up.
A haiku?
Gross.
Yeah, haiku.
Throw a haiku at us real quick before okay, tell the story first, and then we'll do a haiku.
Really quick. Did you learn how to do haikus in like elementary school?
Yeah,
757 and
575
or 575,
Yeah.
and then there's another version of it.
Yeah,
like
I remember we learned the 575, and I remember as a kid being like doing one, and the teacher's like, "Yep, that's it," and I was like, "That's it." And I feel like such a dick looking back on that because it is like such a respected art form. But as a child, I was like, well, this shouldn't even be taught. It's so easy.
And I did spend some time with Rosetta Stone trying to learn Japanese.
Oh, so did I.
I'm flipping back over to Spanish right now because I had more experience in it. So I'm actually doing the Duolingo app on there. My owl is yelling at me right now.
Oh, you have an updated version with a cartoon owl. I never got mine was old enough that it was just pictures of children and beach balls and elephants.
You learned those.
That was it. Yeah, that's
right. Deep into the language.
Where
it
I
was
stopped.
Mostly children, elephants, and beach balls.
That was pretty much it. But we didn't like. You're saying that you have a cartoon owl telling you what to do
all the time. No, but
Rosetta. What's Rosetta Stone?
To bring it back, I was learning Japanese.
Is it Rosie the Owl? Just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you think that's a knock at Rosetta Stone?
Wait, is it not through Rosetta Stone?
Well, the owl. Oh, were you trying to come up with a name?
No. I thought this was a Rosetta Stone app, and I figured the owl was named.
Yeah,
and
you're
it was
saying
Rosie.
an owl is yelling at you. Is there part of the software now is that there's an owl that says
that
stuff?
was part of Duolingo. All of my stories are
Duolingo.
gonna need a giant.
Oh, Duolingo isn't the type of language in the Rosetta Stone. Like, I didn't know if you was like, oh, learn Spanish while you know English.
Yeah, I thought I literally thought
you don't forget the previous language when you learn it.
It's nice to have a refresher while you're doing it. I thought the same thing he thought. I thought that you had a version of Rosetta Stone called Duolingo where it's like learn Spanish and Japanese at the same time.
Something like that.
Well, that's kind of what I'm doing right now. Duolingo is an app on the phone that's teaching me Spanish. I'm using Rosetta Stone to teach me Japanese.
I see.
And to bring me back to the original thing was it's 575 for a haiku. Japanese words are tons of syllables.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
Tons.
Wait, so do you think they...
That's the challenge of writing a Japanese haiku.
Yeah, well, the word ichiban is...
Ichiban. That's 3 right there.
That's 3 syllables. That means first. You're like, and then sister is little brother is ototo, and little sister is imoto. That might be niece and
those
nephew.
are fewer syllables than English, though. Little brother,
Yeah,
little
it's 4.
brother is 4, and what you said was 3.
I usually just say brother Ito, and it shortens it by 1. I guess you're right. There is more of a balance, like because.
Well, you're right. There's a lot of high syllable words in Japanese, so haikus would be challenging.
So they were like, they saw their words and were like, we can. Like, let's really challenge ourselves with our poetry. Let's have a whole poem be first time I saw a dog. The end. Like, that is really quite a way to attack your language.
If at home you want to experience what it's like to write a haiku in Japanese, do an English version of a haiku, which is 1 syllable, 3 syllables, 1 syllable.
Oh, you're right.
Just knock it all down to experience it. Aaron, what's your story?
Oh, I almost forgot. Thought we were having a language seminar or something. No, but I was actually going to talk to you guys because I'm actually through this process, which I know Ben and I have talked about before on this podcast, which is trying to buy a used car.
Ugh.
Which is, I don't know if you've ever gone through that.
With the Japanese.
Yeah, very much. I'm trying to buy an Acura, and it just...
Yeah.
Oddly enough,
that's Japanese
our podcast
Korean.
where we tell our story about used car shopping involves a Japanese man named Henry. Guys, you're going to want to jump back to episode number... It's like one of those boxes in comic books with
check
the
the
asterisk.
wiki.
Yeah, check the wiki. The wiki.
The ChrenBen's wiki.
Yeah.
So... have you ever tried to buy a used car, David?
I'm more distracted by the ominous grandfather clock.
Yeah, that comes in and out from time to time.
Right now,
I actually
you guys
don't know if you
we record this.
I don't know if you can
at
hear
midnight.
that. On the
Probably
recording.
doesn't pick it up.
Yep.
I'm sure
No,
every
I
time
know.
it's happened, but
That's why I wanted to bring it up, is because I knew it. The mic didn't pick it up. But yeah, we record at twilight. It was part of my. I need to. Well, we're in the middle of just kind of this wet forest. We're kind of in a dark, wet forest. Only the bright, huge moonlight is illuminating everything right now. And then we have one camping lantern in between all 3 of us.
And then a
good
clock.
old-fashioned wooden podcasting implements like our forefathers.
The clock just sounds through the weeds.
Oh, yeah, I totally didn't even set up a scene where a clock would exist.
Yeah. Well, there's a clock factory over the hill.
That's right.
It's close enough to normal society that like you can still hear it.
Man.
Yeah, you can hear
That's
it
why
through
you
open
can't hear it on
windows.
the microphone, really. We
There's
can
like
hear it.
a cottage,
Exactly.
windows left open. So you're searching for a car.
Yeah, I'm searching, and so clearly,
Could be a
David,
long podcast, David.
David has never looked for a used car. Apparently, he just only set up clockless for us, and
Everything's in walking distance in the forest.
of course. And so, anyways, this is like the first time I kind of went through that, but I'll tell you why I kind of went through this to begin with. Because like my last car was this Chevy Impala, which I just loved, and I know Ben loved. Like his second car, I guess. Both of our second cars,
The best cars.
will always be our favorites, probably in life.
That's one of my favorite rap lyrics has Impala in it.
Oh yeah,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a Yellow Wolf. It's a Big Boy song off of his solo album.
Speaker Box?
No.
Oh, the Love
next-
Below.
No, Love Below was how dare you? That was Andre 3000. No, the it was Sir Lucius Leftfoot, son of Chico Dusty, was the name of the album.
I bet that sold really well.
It was fantastic. It was an amazing album. So you were looking for a used car.
Well, no, I'm setting up why I had to look. So the first car I had was this kind of, it was my dad's old 94 Escort station wagon. And it was like maroon, and it was great. It got good gas mileage, but it was fine for what it was worth. And I had that car from when I was 16 until I was probably 20. Not that long, but it was still like, the first car. And
long enough to make some memories.
Of course.
How long? How many miles was it when you got it?
It was pretty low, actually, like 45 or 50.
And then how many did you put on it?
I think I had it up to a little over 100,000.
And then how much vertical humping mileage?
Oh, that was very
How
little.
much work did you put on the shocks?
Not hardly any. Although, actually, this story does have to deal with the shocks. So what happened was I was very hard on this car for a lot of reasons. It was just a lot of fun to drive, but it was pretty durable for all intents and purposes. But like in the winter, I would like use the handbrake to go around curves and like do donuts and like slide. And often I would slide into curbs really hard, and it was indestructible more or less. And I really liked it for that reason. And one New Year's, I think it must have been like 2004. I wasn't drinking. don't think I was old enough to drink, but for whatever reason, we just hung out in my basement, which we often did, ordered pizza, and then like the next morning, I had to take my friends home. And I had to get them home relatively early because the Iowa Hawkeyes football were playing at like 9 a.m. or something. So we left at like 7:30 or 8.
For the longest time, I thought that team was called the Iowa Hot Guys.
Oh, they have shirts like that. I'm not even kidding.
Do they?
Yeah.
That actually makes me sad.
I'll get you one for Christmas.
Yeah, thank you so much.
And so it hadn't snowed yet that year, but this is Iowa, so like it was still very cold on that January 1st morning, and like the roads were cold, maybe a little icy, I'm not sure, but it was right where the new mall had just been built.
Ooh, the new mall.
And it was the Jordan Creek Mall. And on this podcast, David, we love malls. I don't know if you knew that. You didn't. Now you do.
No, I do.
Dude,
But,
Jordan Creek, man, that was like stepping into a brand new Bentley. It's just that mall, the first day it was open.
I got a free shirt. I still have it.
There's like shirts being given away. This is
It
unbelievable.
was fantastic.
Cold Stone Creamery.
It was that's how I was introduced to Cold Stone. I was like, well, this place is amazing.
That food-
Remember that month where we all thought Cold Stone was amazing?
So the new mall had been built, and there was this new road that was, if you left the freeway to get onto like the normal road, I think it was 60th. Not that it matters, but Ben knows what I'm talking about.
No,
Paints
yeah.
a picture.
And it was it was like a nice exit. Like all the old exits were like really harsh and like sharp turns sort of, but
Yeah,
this
yeah,
one was
yeah.
they really did a good job. So for whatever reason, now the other thing about this story is I'm with Chuck and John Rovan. And so like they're both kind of like, well, Chuck more or less is very big into cars. So I always felt the need to impress him in my shitty car. And I was like,
I don't understand what it is about cars. Maybe it's a masculine thing, but like the people who aren't versed in it feel like they have to be. better versed in it.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I can show Chuck. I was like, so we were going like 80 on the freeway, and then I got off, and it was like this, like a rolling curve or whatever, and I was like, it says 35, but I was like, oh, I can clearly take this at like 70 or 65. So I just really, I kind of like let up.
Nobody's ever.
No, but it was.
Why did you say clearly?
I could clearly do
No, because it was so gradual.
Oh, okay.
I was like, 35 is really just too precautionary. I was like, I'll show this.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all do that. We all see like, I can pull this, but nobody goes 40 over. And it's like, because that's seeing like a 55 mile per hour side and going like 95. Cop's not even going to pull you over. It's not worth it.
No. Well, there's also no one on the road, so I was like free to rage havoc however I see fit. And so as I was taking the turn, and everything was going great. And
in this dangerous, not well thought out turn.
And my car, which was front wheel drive, started to fishtail a little bit, which I thought was a little weird.
Uh-oh.
And I feel like
weird.
Ben is so uninterested in everything.
I am. I'm really
responds to things.
I'm really tired from CrossFit, but I'm interested. It's hard for me to.
We gotta talk about CrossFit after this.
Yeah,
but please.
So it starts to fishtail a little bit, and I correct it. And Chuck actually has the amount of time to say, that was a really good correction. Like he knew what I tried to do, and it worked. And then I kid you not, the car just goes perpendicular to the road.
Oh my God.
And I just at full speed go over like the median and land on the grass in the middle of.
Oh, scary.
And it was absolutely scary because it was one of those things where I was like, thanks, Chuck, like slow-mo looking at him. And then all of a sudden
mid-thanks.
and I was like, no. And he's like, oh, and I did that classic thing. I feel like it's in Seinfeld, but I put my hand on Chuck's chest. So he like
him in the chest
Rovan in the back seat, not wearing a seatbelt, like flies into the ceiling when we go over it. And luckily he's built like a tank, so he's fine. But like I was like, so now we're like in the middle of the median, and like disaster, obviously.
Right.
And I was like thinking I'm gonna miss the Iowa game. Like this is the worst. Plus it was cold out, and I'm like, are you guys okay?
Oh yeah, and the people.
And
Dick.
And Chuck was like, that was so crazy. It's like the car like did that, like he got mad at you for doing something right, and it was like, no, this
blamed
is
the car.
It was so inexplicable. Like I couldn't believe that it happened, and he couldn't either. And was just like, but I was going straight. Like when it happened, I was going forward, and then all of a sudden I was going sideways, and then it caught, and I went forward again over the curb. And I was going still pretty fast. I mean, I'd slowed down a little bit. I couldn't even judge or guess how fast I was going.
Okay, so you're in the silence.
Yeah.
You have the dust kind of kicked up around you.
Yeah.
So like everyone's all right, and everyone's agreed that it was the craziest thing they've been a part of at the time. And I backed the car up, and I only have one flat tire. So we put the spare on. I drive them home. It's got like a little bit of a funk. Like there's something definitely
Someone
wrong with the
shit
car.
themselves.
Yeah.
There's a fecal smell.
And like I have to pull the wheel left to go straight. It's one of those deals, you know.
Right.
So
One of those deals.
and so I drop them off. I take the car to a mechanic who happens to be open on first. Yeah, that's the real mirror.
That is the weirdest part of this entire story,
Yeah.
by the way.
So we go to the mechanic. I have my dad pick me up. We go home, watch the game. The Hawks win.
Oh man.
Thank you very much.
What bowl was it?
I couldn't even tell you. This was
it the Orange Bowl?
This was the year before the amazing Drew Tate Bowl. So like this must have been.
Was that a magician?
Yeah.
It's actually
amazing.
there's no football. It's all just tricks.
I would so hope that.
I want to say this was an Alamo Bowl and that it matters, but
okay.
it was like a decent. Like we played well. But anyways, the car was fixed later that day, and I went up and picked it up, and
Holy
it was
shit,
and it
on
was
New
fine.
Year's Day?
Yeah, it was crazy, guys. It was crazy, but there was no one there. Like it was no business. He was like, I was lucky to be open, and so that was like the craziest part of that day. So needless to say. Months go by, and I started attending the University of Iowa. And in February, I start noticing my tires were like bald, and I was like, "Oh, this is very unsafe." And and the car had been running fine outside of that moment, but so I took it to the Firestone, and but I waited till like April to even like get new tires. Like I didn't have any money. Convinced my mom to get new tires, so we got 4 new tires. We took it to this Firestone that was near my apartment, and the guy goes ahead and puts the new tires on. This is like classic car guy, and then he tells me that there's a lot of things wrong with my car. And I was like, well, can you just take the tires off? He's like, oh, I can't take new tires off. And I was like, well, why'd you put them on? I was like, if you knew, I was like, of course, he would never do that.
Take tires off. That's how you put tires on.
I know, but he wasn't. I was like, well, now I don't want the tires anymore because my car is destroyed. And he's like, well, you already got the tires.
Oh, I see.
I was like, oh, like, but he's like, I saw this before I put them on. But the fact that he didn't tell me about it till
that's
after.
shitty.
Yeah. So that, I mean, it's kind of on me too. I should have probably had a better mechanic look at it.
Don't blame yourself. Come on.
Hey guys, thanks. And
I didn't say anything.
Yeah, why'd you say thanks, guys? Like,
Yeah.
I had agreed with you in my mind, and and since I'm an Iowa hot guy, so the guy at Firestone, he had my car lifted up in the air on the lift.
I thought through magic.
Yeah,
the magic of limitation.
The amazing Drew Tate was
lifted it up.
So he goes, come here real quick, and I was like, yeah, and he goes, you see this spring? And I was like, yeah. He goes, you see this giant crack in it? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, come here. And we go to the other car, or other tire.
Does this end with his penis?
Yeah. And
This is the way you're telling him.
and he goes, you see this spring? And I was like, oh yeah. And he goes, yeah, does it have a crack? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, yeah, that tire could blow off
At any moment.
that car at any moment. He goes, I've seen it before. He goes, literally the spring breaks, like the shock breaks, and the tire just flies off at like tremendous speed.
Like a cartoon.
Wow.
And so we're still at the good spring though. He goes, here's the craziest part. And he goes, you see this thing? I think it was a tie rod. And I go, yeah. He goes, come over here. So we go down to the one with the crazy spring on it. And he goes, yeah, this one doesn't even have that. And I was like, what? He goes, this car shouldn't even be able to drive. And I was like, are you kidding me? He's like, the wheels should be like falling off. He's like, I don't even know how you got this in here.
As he speaks, the tire slides off and flops on the ground.
And
That's quantum, man. Is your car was only broken when it was observed.
yeah.
That's Schrodinger's car.
Yeah.
Right.
And so he goes,
A small
you got to
black
get a new
hole.
car or have this completely fixed, but
not
it's
what
going
I
to
was
cost
saying,
more. He's like, you got to get it all fixed because it's going to cost more than the actual car, so you might as well just get a new one.
Yeah.
And I was like, do you think it's safe to drive to Des Moines, which is 2 hours away? And he goes, absolutely not. And I was like, well, I'm going to try my luck. So I ended up doing that. But before that whole conversation, he goes,
You're an idiot, but I would have done the same thing.
yeah. And he goes, it's the craziest thing, though. He goes, I've never seen anything like this. And he goes, literally, I don't even know how this happened. And I go, say, for instance, you hit a curb, I don't know, like T-boned a curb going at like 75 miles per hour. And he goes, I go, would that do it? And he goes, well, maybe, but who would be dumb enough to do that? And I was like, oh, I don't know. I was just trying to figure out a way that could possibly happen.
It's so
and he goes,
specific.
no. You would have known if that happened in this car. I was like, yeah, right. I would have known had I done that. So this guy was like, he thought it was the craziest thing. Meanwhile, I had like in my back pocket the entire story of like me almost killing my friends. I mean, had it been busier, we would have been right into a semi truck, I'm sure. Like,
Oh, yeah.
It was just so fortunate that it was on the January 1st where there was no traffic.
So I have a story.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I had this car. In a previous podcast, I described how much I enjoyed it. It was a 2002 Intrigue. It was a wonderful car. And it was the one thing I felt like I really had in Los Angeles that, like, if I lost everything, I was like, at least I have this, like, nice luxury car. That's what I always say about it. And that's, in fact, what I said in a previous podcast. Now, in that previous podcast, you'll hear the tale of how it died, which was a drunk driver hit it on the street, shoved it into an SUV, and accordioned it like a cartoon. It was crazy.
A real cartoon, right?
Real cartoon. Cartooned. That car got
And when
cartooned.
they pull it out with the tow truck, it went.
Yeah, it was all like out of tune. And then Weird Al Yankovic started singing and got like back on the Billboard
that's
charts.
ridiculous. Bro.
Yeah.
So
No one believes that. So before the car was destroyed, I believe 2 years to the day before that it was destroyed, I don't even know if you know this story. I was driving. I had this horrible job. I really didn't like it. And I was sneaking away to go to get a different job, which would have been equally horrible. That job would have been me calling nurses and asking them if they wanted to, asking them on dates. No, asking them if they wanted to like switch nursing agencies. And it was crazy. And it was in like Beverly Hills. The commute would have killed me. So I snuck out of this one job and I was driving and and it was one of those things where the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want this job. I don't want this nurse phone calling job. Like, what am I doing? Why am I going? Like, I don't like the other job, but this other job I'm not going to like either. So why am I even? Oh my God. And I was so freaked out about like sneaking out to go find something else that was equally bad, if not worse, that I rear-ended somebody on the 5. And it was bad. Like, they were a big SUV. I was, oddly enough, this car continues to be pushed into SUVs and getting the brunt of the damage. So the hood like crinkled and popped up. It was just really bad shape. The bumper was like destroyed. Pull over, exchange information. Lady was super nice in the SUV. Whatever. Drive the car back to Burbank. Have to call work. It's so weird. I hate lying to my job, but I like have to lie again. Like, oh, like I was visiting a friend and I got in a car accident, and they were like, really? What friend? Why this time of day? Like, was your friend like a nursing agency? And I was like, how'd you know that? But the car was destroyed. Not destroyed, but like the front was like destroyed. The bumper was gone. The hood was just like, it was like tissue paper. The hood was just all crinkled up. Still drivable, but barely. So I had this insurance company at the time that was like not great. And I called them up and they're like, yeah, you got to take it to our collision center, which may have been in Alhambra. We have another story about Alhambra, which is why he's laughing. But
Henry was there.
Yeah, which is weird to me that if it was in Alhambra, that I wouldn't have been like red alert on the Alhambra Nissan story from several podcasts ago. Anyway, take this thing to the collision center. They're like, yeah, we'll look it over. I'm like, what do you mean you'll look it over? Oh, it's going to be a few days. I'm like, well, what do you mean it'll be a few days? Can you just like tell me now, like what it's going to cost and how long it's going to take? They're like, no, it was like an observance period. Like, and it wasn't defined either. That was the best part of this whole thing. And I needed a car and my car insurance didn't cover a rental car. So out of pocket, I'm like renting this horrible, the Aveo.
Yeah. Chevy
Aveos, which are like...
Yeah.
They're toy cars, really.
The cum-stained towel of the car dealership, of the car rental dealership.
So what is the cum-stained silk linen of the car?
That would be...
Chevy Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's funny. You made the exact same joke I was about to make. I was going to say Sonic. You beat me to the punch. So I'm freaking out now because I'm spending all this money on this rental car. I'm not getting reimbursed. I don't know when I can get my car back. And I'm dealing with this car insurance company, and I'm sneaking out of work to go call them. And I don't want to make a big deal about it because in my neuroses, I think they're going to put together that I was trying to go get a different job because of this car accident.
You like a little slip.
Yeah. It's like, oh man, like it's damn that nursing agency. Nursing agency. Wait a minute. What are you doing?
Well, I saw they had a post online. Are you trying to get a new job? They're way too good of sleuths.
So after a while, this is the part of the story where like I wish I could remember the details better because there were like not even kidding, 20 phone calls between me and this car insurance agency and the collision center attempting to get answers. So we rack up about a week of rental car payments.
Lipley, he wants answers.
I was like yelling. I remember like sneaking outside, and my old job had like gravel outside, so I'd be like stomping around on the gravel and like sliding and getting like red faced and like so angry. And I remember too, it was right before Christmas, and I knew that I had to go home. I had a plane ticket to Des Moines, and I was going to be back for like a week and a half, and I really needed to get it resolved before I flew out. So there was also this ticking clock. It was just a nightmare. So eventually I got a call from my insurance company after like a week, which is unacceptable, and they were like, yeah, it's a total loss. I was like, what do you mean? They're like, damage is too bad. The damage is the cost of repairs outweigh the value of the car, so we'll just have to write you a check for the value of the car.
Right.
Like, oh no. because that car was like my life. That was like my lifeline. I mean, that was what, if everything in the world fell apart, I had that Oldsmobile Intrigue. That was like, I was like, I can sleep in this car if I have to. I don't feel like a complete failure because it's like a nice car. And I knew that like it was old enough and it had enough miles that the amount of money I'd get, like I wouldn't be able to get anything comparable, you know?
Right.
So it was a real low point in my life. And
Great.
I didn't know what to do. And then a Christmas miracle happened, David.
Oh.
So the collision center calls and they're like, hey, Mr. Lepley.
We've got a whole bag of letters to Santa.
A whole bag of cars have been mailed. No, they call up and they're
a
like,
whole bag of cars on your desk.
they're like, Mr. Lepley, your car is ready to be picked up. And I was like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, we're good to go. Just come on down and get it from Alhambra. And I was like, but no. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Like, was I supposed to tell them not to make the repairs? I was like, oh, no, I'm not paying for this. So I start yelling at the guy over the phone. I'm like, you made the repairs? I'm like, it was deemed a total loss. No, what are you doing? Like, no, God damn it. Why can't you people work together? Then I call the insurance company. Of course, they don't pick up. And I leave messages and like 3 of the agents who I've dealt with. I'm like, I'm not paying for these repairs. I didn't say any. I didn't know it was you didn't tell me that I was. And then I get a call like halfway through interrupting the third voicemail that I'm leaving. Mm-hmm. And it's this guy from the insurance company. He's like, hey, Ben. And he's like, chill out, man. He's like, this was our responsibility. He's like, we forgot to call the collision center and tell them not to do the repairs. He's like, why did you think this was on you? And I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm so tired. I just want to go see my family for Christmas. And I can't afford this rental car. And he's like, okay. He's like, yeah, I mean, you can just go get it. And at that point, I didn't really like believe anyone. I thought it was all either like a hallucination or just like a joke.
Something that actually turned out okay is so strange for you.
Yeah.
You felt like you were in a movie.
So
something shitty must happen.
I took the Aveo down to Alhambra and it was like a movie. They pulled the Intrigue out of this collision center and they had like detailed it, deep cleaned it, and it looked like brand new. It was unbelievable. And then they were like, it's yours, take it. And I was like, I don't know any money. They're like, no, the insurance company fucked up. You get this for free.
Nice.
It was unbelievable. It was like the best Christmas ever because then I could take that cum rag back to the dealership and I had my favorite car.
Trade it in for a cum cloth.
A cum square.
A cum kerchief.
What's the square? The pocket square. A cum pocket square. We'll edit that so it doesn't sound like I forgot what a pocket square was.
Yes, please save yourself from the embarrassment.
I like how the collision center was like, did we get any word from the insurance company? Let's just fix it anyways for fun.
Yeah.
Like, that's like their enjoyment.
Well, honestly, like I wonder because it was such a crazy long wait. I mean, it was 7 days, guys, of like waiting and then being like, we don't know yet. Like, you have my car. Like, what's the verdict? Even if it was total loss, like tell me a day after. You know, it was very strange. So I wonder if it was just like. They'll probably approve it if it's been this long.
They're getting antsy.
And everything turned up Lepley. It was wonderful.
Everything turning up Lepley.
I remember you telling me that.
Oh, I did tell you
when I came over and you were like, the car, they just fixed it. And I was like, what do you mean? I didn't believe you then.
I just started screaming the cum rag.
Yeah, the cum rag.
Did that paint an unrealistic picture of Los Angeles for you? It's great here.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you mean someone got a weird... someone has a misconception about Los Angeles? My favorite thing about bringing people here.
Yeah.
Is when they're like, oh, wow, it's dirty, and there are a lot of people screaming at you.
My first impression of Hollywood, I was like, well,
everyone.
This is a horrible place.
Yeah.
Like full of awfulness and just dirt.
I think the first time I was walking down Hollywood Boulevard, it was my first time visiting a comedy club out here, and it was super exciting. I was walking down the Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah.
You know, and you see
it's a really
you're looking
exciting
at all
day.
the stars before you realize that they've just been put there by like $3,000 and a few signatures.
Mm-hmm.
And when
everything
I was there,
smells like pee.
A guy came across. Yeah, it just all smells like
Yeah,
this.
just a
Crazy.
pea cloud scent. Yeah.
Crazy. And a guy comes over, hits the drink out of my hand, says,
Really?
"Get the fuck out of my kingdom," and then walks away.
Did you? Did you get out of his kingdom?
I at least the zip code. At least.
That's
It was-
insane.
It was outside of that Pavilions over on
Yeah.
it wasn't Hollywood Boulevard, I guess. It was Vine and Melrose.
That's not even
Okay.
that's not even a horrible neighborhood.
No, it's just crazies.
Yeah.
that just kind of wander around.
Yeah.
And then you don't like really break through. There's no like crazy veneer, and then once you're inside, it's less crazy. You just find a richer crazy.
Yeah.
You know, just once you start getting indoors, you just find crazies that happen to have money. That is interesting. I was at Starbucks and I was about to go teach improv to high schoolers, which
I remember you did that for a while.
I'm still doing it. I'm still doing it to this day.
It's your way of giving back.
It's my way of giving back, and also, if you really want a surreal experience, it's watching high schoolers do something you've like dedicated your life to. It's very odd. It's got to be like when like
So,
I'll tell you right now, Drew doesn't like it at all.
Sorry, Drew.
So watching high schoolers draw in paint for us would be
It's got to be so hard for teachers to see that of like you're like, oh man, like look at how beautiful this is. Like Del Close came up with all these amazing things to kind of organize chaos, and the one kid is like, I hope I get to mention Doctor Who. And that's kind of like the key to improv for him.
Yeah.
And it's kind of amazing because you focus so hard on the art, and then you see these kids go out, and I host a show for a full audience, and they'll kill.
Yeah.
They'll kill with the stuff that's like, the stuff that's like if you just scraped the glaze off of a donut and ate that.
Yeah.
That is kind of the stuff
There was a girl we worked with who actually used to do that.
scrape glaze off of donuts.
Not kidding.
Yeah.
That's what she did.
Yeah, that
That's
was her
disturbing.
thing. Yeah.
That's disturbing.
She just ate the glaze.
So I was going out there, and I was over at Starbucks, and I decided to take a nap, but there are two guys smoking cigarettes next to my car, and I smoke cigarettes, but it's their smoke for some reason is bothering me. So I move, and then I take a nap in this car, and all of a sudden I'm like a foot in the air.
You take a nap in
my car,
your
in the
car.
parking
Oh,
spot.
you said this car, and I thought it was a different car than your car.
Yeah, just a strange person.
No, that's what I really
I
thought.
was going around Starbucks, checking doors. And one was unlocked. No, I moved the car, and I'm in a foot in the air all of a sudden. And it's like, I've been in this before. So, like, as I'm flying through the air, when you first wake up and you're in that situation, it's weird because you immediately go, well, I'm in a car accident right now. As you're, like, floating in slow motion. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I get hit, and I fall down, and I get out of the car, and this old lady has hit me like really hard, hit me into one truck, and then that truck went into another truck. And I get out, she starts backing up, and I'm like, and I start going, oh no, you don't. Like I get really tough. As soon as I see it's an old lady and she's not gonna like beat me up, immediately I'm like, don't you dare, come on. And like I got out of the car and I watch her, and she keeps backing up, and she's going faster.
Oh my god.
And she's backing up, and then she goes into and then people are like jumping in the way and like start holding their hands out, and like I'm jarred by a car accident. I'm still like, what are you gonna do? Like stop it with your hands? Like a car, jump out front and hold a car back with your wrists and just like expect that to work. But it was sweet of them, and
they tried.
They tried. They did. And she goes into a parking spot, and you think she's stopped, and then it accelerates and just floors into the wall.
Oh my god.
And then she comes out, and she's spilling oil all over the place now, and everyone in the complex is just yelling, stop, stop. I'm out of the car at this point. I'm still like a little hazy and just shocked, you're just so it's that movie feeling you were talking about.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and I'm like hazy, and I'm trying to figure out if I have a concussion or not because my head's blaring a little bit. And then a bunch of people come running out, and this lady comes out the door, and she points right at me, straight arm point, like him. and they all come running towards me. They're like hustling, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a bunch of people with like fanny packs on and like shirts are kind of like, you know, like they look weird. They're like t-shirts tucked into
Sounds
pants.
like Improv Everywhere was about to get their first victim.
Kind of felt, that's funny because it kind of felt like that. So apparently, I guess it's better if I set up the moment. Apparently, the cars I had run into, that I had been pushed into, were on their way to a deaf graduation for a school nearby that was deaf. And so I'd interrupted their day. And also, what a creepy graduation that would be.
Oh, yeah. We're all thinking it.
Whole 5,000, just like 3,000 people in silence. Just sitting there. Someone like
just doing
raising their hand.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
Do you think they have somebody there to talk for the people who...
Sure.
Oh,
sure.
okay.
I would love it if it was just the commencement speech was just a guy came up, smiled, and gave a thumbs up, and then the crowd goes wild.
But not making any sound.
They were going there, and I'm getting out of the car, and I feel rattled, and I'm trying to figure out if I have a concussion, and then 15 people yelling at me, but they're deaf.
Right.
So it's literally, oh, am I okay? Do I have a concussion? And they all come running up to me and they just corner me and they're still yelling all at the same time because they can't hear each other.
Oh my God.
And so it's and I back up against the car and I'm like, you know, panic stricken, my body just flat up against the car. And then then I was like, it was her. And I point over and then it's like the wall of deaf people separated and this 87-year-old woman comes forward and she looks right at the car and it's compressed, it's accordioned, it's inside of another car, literally. Mm-hmm. And she goes, oh, it fix. And that was like, it was the weirdest car accident I've ever been in. Cops didn't even talk to me afterwards. They came in, they took I got everybody's insurance information, and they just kind of like they like let me do all of that. Oh. They just let me do it.
You do it.
They just saw me handling it. Never talked to me once about like, even though I was the car that got hit. Yeah. They talked to everybody else. And the old lady, even like the saddest thing in the world, she's like, I have to drive this back home. And he's like, you're probably not going to drive after this. She goes, the car is too broken. And he's like, you're probably not going to drive ever again after this. And she goes, oh, no, and just disagrees with him. The whole time they just ignored me. And one of them came over and was just like, "You're fine, right?" Like that's a cop.
That's it.
Like that's like if an ambulance paramedic came by and you like got blood on your forehead. And you're like, you're still standing, but he's like, "You're good, right? We don't have to like."
That's so
deal with this.
We don't have to tube you, do we? It takes so long.
I'm so tired of all of this.
I hate to reference another old podcast, but when my car got accordioned, when I came out, there was a note under the windshield that said, "Call us, the police." They didn't know how to contact me, so they just put it under the window.
Police.
Yeah, they signed it. The police.
Was it like on a napkin?
It was not on a piece of paper that was like a police like notice. it was on like scrap paper. And then so I just called 911 and I was like, is this an emergency? And I was like, no, but I was told to call this number.
I received a missive.
I called 911 one time, not knowing what they classified an emergency as.
Oh, yeah.
And then I went through this rigmarole of like feeling bad. And they're like, what's the name of your emergency? I go, I don't know if this qualifies as an emergency.
And then you get that hot sweat because it's like, oh, am I going to get in trouble for calling 911?
Yeah, because as a kid, they always told us, like, if you fake call 911, there will be hell to pay.
What was your emergency?
Oh, that's a whole other story.
No, and that's a story for another podcast. Well, thank you for coming on. Is there like a Twitter account you have or anything?
Oh, man, I don't know.
That's fine. It doesn't matter. It doesn't
Go
matter.
over
Thank you so much for coming.
Check out Second City. I do shows over there.
I'll be sure to go there.
From directly above the Hollywood sign, it's ChrenBen's Friend Trends with Aaron.